the Start Your Own Business podcast. Hear inspiring startup stories and get reliable expert advice on how to start your business and get off to the best possible start. Brought to you by Startup Donut, helping small businesses succeed.
Hi there, thanks for joining us and welcome to the Start Your Own Business podcast. My name's Fiona and I'm your host. Quick question, are you a TikTok user? If so, you're not alone. According to some estimates, there are more than 30 million Brits now using TikTok. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, TikTok is a social media platform that allows people to create, share and watch short-form videos. But it's not just used by individuals. A reported 1.5 million small businesses in the UK are already using TikTok for their marketing. But the big question is why are they using it? What benefits does it offer over other marketing channels? And what's the secret to getting the best results when using TikTok to market your small business? Here to answer these questions and many others is content creator, business growth coach and TikTok whiz Penelope Walker. Before we meet Penelope, let's find out more about the sponsor of this episode, Sage, and how Copilot can help freelancers and other small businesses just like you.
To be honest, work had been a slog. I'm a designer, but some nights I was chasing invoices like my full-time job. Now Sage Copilot chases my invoices for me. I just need to click a button and it's done. And I get paid 1 week faster.
Sage Copilot is built with over 40 years of experience helping real businesses like Sophia at Solver Design. That's more than artificial intelligence, that's authentic intelligence. Search Sage Copilot to learn more. Working with 21 customers, each round payments came in 7 days faster with Sage Copilot. T's and C's apply.
Now time to meet our guest, Penelope Walker. Hi there, Penelope. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I wanted to start, if I can, by finding out a little bit about your background. If you could tell us what you've been up to before you became a TikTok growth coach.
Oh, it's a long story, but I lived in Italy till about 10 years ago. My husband's Italian, doing various other things. But when I moved to England, I wanted to, I'd already done quite a lot of the beginnings of social media in Italy, and I really liked it, and I thought I was potentially quite good at it. I'd done a lot of marketing, so I did like a 6-month training in social media and just picked up sort of some random jobs I could test my new skills out on, and I just really liked it, and I soon became an Instagram coach.
Right.
And I used to teach, in particular, IGTV. I don't know if you remember those days, pre-Reels. And like nobody was really into it, but it was good. Like Vogue were using it. Anyway, I sort of like it had my attention. I liked it. I liked learning that way through video. And then in lockdown, Instagram introduced Reels. That was in 2020. And I thought, oh, this is good. That's a great way to learn, just to listen to people talking. I really enjoyed it sort of in that visual learning. And so I started teaching Reels, but then I was like, oh, but people are doing all this stuff on TikTok. And I didn't really, it felt like a young people's platform, but suddenly all those people were furloughed. And there were cooks and chefs and teachers and gardeners and, literally everybody was there, every age range. And I thought, it was just brilliant. It was so much fun. So I thought I'll learn that. So I literally found anyone who would train me, ask all the questions, learn as much as I could about it. And so that's how it started. So I've been teaching TikTok basically since then, and I just love it. It's so fun.
So it was a kind of migration, really, that you move over into becoming a growth coach for TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's loads and loads of excellent Instagram coaches, but not so many on TikTok, and especially sort of in the age range, like over 40s, but not that many in general. So I was like, I'll take it. I love it.
So for anyone who's not familiar with TikTok, can you give us a lowdown on what it is and how it works?
Yes. Okay. So I think TikTok doesn't like to be called a social media platform. What it thinks it is and what it is effectively is an entertainment platform. an SEO platform, and a shop. So I'll just go into a bit more detail. As an entertainment platform, it feels it's a competitor with the BBC and Netflix and big platforms like that, because you can upload videos of 10 minutes, an hour. So effectively, if you wanted to be the star of your own show and run your own series and episodes, you can. And some people do. You don't see loads and loads of it, but you do see a lot of longer content compared to platforms like Instagram, for example. So to watch a sort of 3 to 4 minute video isn't at all unusual, and a lot of people run their whole platforms like that. So as an entertainment platform, obviously it's not, that doesn't mean just dancing. That means it could be absolutely anything you want to talk about, but that's the entertainment side. Then as a shop, it's I don't know if you've ever bought anything on TikTok Shop, but it's just getting bigger and bigger. And the TikTok Shop is divided into the sellers, so the people who have the products and list their catalogs on TikTok, and then who aren't necessarily the people who sell those articles, because then there's the creator platform for TikTok Shop, which is basically affiliates, where you get a percentage of sales from the shop, from the actual seller accounts. So that means, for example, if I want to sell microphones, people ask me, where do you get the microphone? A bit like you might on an Amazon storefront. I've got a £5 microphone in my TikTok Shop. Every time someone buys it, I'll make 70p a pound. So I don't do it much, but a lot of people are actually making a whole living. So if you imagine, if you're say you're selling kids' toys, right? And maybe the people that you're really looking for out there are mums of small children, mums of boys, mums in a certain age range. And they're the ones who hold the audience. So they're going to make money from selling your products, but also they're going to get you in front of a much bigger audience. So that's sort of how the shop is working. Yep. And then, of course, shops, you'll see a lot of people selling on TikTok Live. So maybe that we'll come to in a minute. And then I think in terms of being a beginner and being new to TikTok, the most important thing is the fact that it is a huge search engine. That's like the most powerful part for your business as a newcomer, or even somebody who's been there for a while, because it's hugely SEO powered. So if you go into TikTok and at the top of any video, you'll see there's like a search bar, and type in there absolutely anything, you get into the search engine of TikTok. So it could be your favorite beach bar you're going to Ibiza, you want to know the best beach bar, but it could be things to do in Oxford for one day, but it could be how to unblock your drain, how to iron a shirt, literally anything, which is why TikTok is suitable for everybody. But what happens then is that when you post content on TikTok, you may not initially get this big sort of hit, especially if you're new and people don't know you yet. You may not get loads of interest in that post, but if you've optimized it as for SEO and put your keywords in, then that means that it's evergreen content. It's going to sit on the platform and get rediscovered over and over again when people search for that kind of information, right? Which means that your content works really hard for ages and ages and ages. So it's very typical to see videos that you posted a month, 3 months, a year, or even 2-3 years ago continue to almost sometimes go viral, but to pick up views and work really, really hard for you. Now, that doesn't happen on Instagram. Instagram is moving in that direction, but it's not happening yet. So in terms of sharing your content, it's brilliant. Yeah. It does so much heavy lifting for you.
Yeah. So what types of businesses are using TikTok?
All businesses are using TikTok. I'd say sort of the big ones that you see, all the big sort of British, I wouldn't say all of them, but a lot of the big British brands are there. So Curry is doing an amazing job. Aldi, there's always a bit of rivalry between all of these brands. Sainsbury's, Waitrose, Marks and Spencer's, those ones are all there doing a great job. Monzo, quite a lot of finance brands you'll see on there as well. Obviously marketing brands or graphic design like Canva, SEMrush, all absolutely fantastic on TikTok. But sort of peeling back those more obvious accounts, then there's a lot of smaller accounts that are doing fantastically. So nutrition, cookery, let me think what else I've seen lately. Interior design. There was even someone who's been doing amazingly well who just sings in the shower dressed as a pineapple. So just to understand the level of niche you can go, like you might have a niche, but you can niche down further within that niche. Yeah. But I think there is something for everybody on TikTok, and it's about finding your audience. And I think that's why it's so important to show up as you. So I think one of the easiest things you can do when you're new to TikTok is just to talk. If you are able to talk to the camera about what you do, as if you're explaining it to your family or to a friend in the pub, or just relating something that's happened in your business lately, turn the camera on, no editing. That is how you're going to find your audience. Like the accounts that I see that do best are the ones who are talking to camera.
So you're saying really that actually any business can be on there. There's not really a limit.
Yeah, absolutely, any business
could make us
name for themselves. Absolutely. And also going back to the SEO, go into the search bar and Google your kind of business, Google your keywords and see what comes up, because you'll be surprised. I think it'd be very hard. There isn't someone there. And if there aren't many, brilliant, more space for you.
Yeah. So you're saying switch on the camera and talk to the camera. I mean, back in the day when you talked about video content for your business, it always brought to mind expensive studios, hiring specialist crew, camera, sound people. Presumably that's not the case with TikTok. You can, I assume, almost turn your phone on, record it and post it from your phone if you wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's just the usual things people talk about with video, which is clean screen, good lighting and good audio. And you can do that very simply and very inexpensively. So yes, you can film anywhere. I mean, TikTok 5 years ago was just a lot of messy bedrooms and messy houses, and no one actually cared. And I would say it is more refined now, and there is absolutely room for very aesthetic content. So the kind of thing you might see on Instagram Reels does work on TikTok, so don't be put off if you're doing that as well. It's not like you have to create new content, but you don't need much to get started.
Yeah, well, that's a great thing for people to bear in mind if they been put off by their idea before. Video content,
and just your phone is and just your phone as well. Like, you don't need any fancy kit.
And you can get lighting and microphones quite cheaply in the same way that you do now if you're doing webinars and podcasts like this one. So you can pick the bits up that you need quite cheaply, so cost doesn't have to be a barrier to you, I suppose, is what we're saying. You mentioned it already, TikTok Shop. How would I go about setting up a TikTok shop if I'm brand new to TikTok?
Okay, so if you're a seller, you've got a product. It has to be a product-based business. It can't be service. You literally set up a business account. So when you download the app, it will offer you creator or business. Well, they call it personal actually, but it means creator or business, and that's the distinction. So the business account is the one that doesn't have all the trending music, etc., which does put some people off, but you don't need to be put off by that because it's perfectly fine, and there's lots of ways you can get around it. But if you want to, TikTok will then offer you an application process where you can submit your business details in order to that you don't have to do this, but in order to get a link in bio immediately. So that's that's a little bit tricky on TikTok. If you have a creator account, a personal account, you have to have 1,000 followers to get a link in bio. For a business, that might be your purpose of being there. You want to get people onto your website, right? So you can follow that. They guide you through the steps and become a business a bit more formally, but you can just be a business without all the formal arrangements. But what it means being a business is that you can go live immediately, which could be important for your business. And the way that people are using lives is, say, TikTok sellers, for example, are perhaps going on lives to sell their products. I'm sure you've seen them if you've been on TikTok. I mean, it can be pretty ugly business. You're like, I can't watch this stuff. There's for example, a brand like Glow For It, they sell sort of like mascaras and stuff like that. If you want to have a look how people are using brands, have a look at them because they're doing a lot of stuff. But so if you're a TikTok shop seller, you can offer discounts during the lives. You can offer bundles, that kind of thing. I think I think people get into trouble with TikTok Shop because sometimes you're offering the same products that you have on your website, on your Shopify, or in other places. And the prices do tend to differ because TikTok Shop can make offers or discounts. So the prices aren't always aligned. And obviously customers are savvy and they do go and check on Amazon. On your website, they're going to be checking how much they're spending. A good idea would be to think about doing bundles instead. So perhaps having two products that you sell together, or, you know, something a bit complementary to your product so that it stands out as a TikTok only offer.
Yeah. So I've set up my shop. What kinds of key content would you say that I need to have or need to create?
Yeah, so the first thing I do is set up my profile with information that tells your customer about you, so you can control what people see first. So who you are, what you do, and who you do it for. I think those pinned to the top of your feed would be great. After that, I would probably set up about 12 videos initially for the launch that sort of demonstrate what you do and also tell your business story a bit. And if you can have a video of you speaking there, that would be great. Now, once you've set those up, it just means that people have a lot to go back and see. And it's not like Instagram where when you post, you never see it again.
Yeah.
When you post on TikTok, when you get a new follower, they will see everything you ever posted normally. So it feels like when they open the platform, they're seeing your content again. So your videos do get a lot of airtime. I would do that. Then I would concentrate on format and work out what format feels easy to you. And there's lots of formats. There's talking to camera.
Yeah.
I'd keep that over 1 minute if you can, just because when you go over 10,000 followers in the Creator Fund, TikTok rewards you for videos over 1 minute. It likes it because obviously it thinks it's an entertainment platform. So you tend to get a bit of a boost in the algorithm. I would do short videos, so the classic B-roll where you maybe just have some text on screen and then go on and explain something in the captions. Carousel posts like we do on Instagram. It's photo only on TikTok. That could be your whole TikTok strategy, just carousel posts. Video reply to comments, fantastic. So if people left you comments, you can answer with a video. That works incredibly well on TikTok. Now, the other thing, if you've got a shop, is that you can add a link to your product in your video. That would have to be a video. It can be a carousel. And then people will go immediately to your showcase and see where they can buy it. And what's brilliant about it is it's just 3 clicks. So you press on the link in the video, it will show you the thing. You decide that you want to pay. You confirm you're paying, 3 clicks. If you try and do that on Instagram, it's about 7 clicks because it will take you from the Meta showcase to your website.
Yeah.
And then on your website, it's probably 3 or 4 more clicks to actually be able to pay. So it's brilliant. It's brilliant and a little bit dangerous on the pocket.
For those of us who've been sat scrolling for slightly too long.
But yeah, it makes it so easy to buy, so fantastic. But just to go back to what we said before about affiliate shops, if you have set up a shop on TikTok, it might not be that you're the person who's doing much of the selling. So as a TikTok shop seller, so with your catalogue, you will have access to a marketplace where you can get other people to sell your products. So you can either do that actively, but affiliates can add your products to their showcase, and provided they've made a video about it, you can send them free samples, or they can buy the samples themselves. They can make videos about it, and that's quite powerful because you'll be getting the right accounts to sell your products, and they take their commission. So it's a game of numbers, really.
It's a bit like adding sales reps to your team without sort of them being directly employed by you.
Yeah, but see, it almost doesn't matter in a way if they're not very good at it, because they won't sell anything and no one will see it. But there's a lot of people who are doing it. They're actually making a living from doing it, and they're very good at it. So that's something to bear in mind, and that's probably not your initial stages of having a shop. Yeah. I could offer more detail about actually sort of fulfillment. So you can do that through TikTok, or you can do it yourself. A lot of people choose to do it through TikTok, so they just have everything and do all the, packaging and posting and everything. That's entirely up to you.
So say, for example, I've had a go at TikTok in the past and I thought, I don't really get it. It's not quite working for me. Are there any new features that have come on perhaps in the last 6 to 8 months that perhaps might be, more suited to my type of business that I should be trying out before I completely say, no, it's not for me?
I don't think there are specifically new features. I mean, obviously they roll out things, come and go all the time. Obviously there's a lot more AI than 6 to 8 months ago, but I don't think that's particularly relevant to your business. I think it's more about finding something that works for you. So that could be, it depends on what your block is. Is it you don't feel you have time, you don't feel people are seeing your work? What I advise people to do is at the very most basic level, set up a TikTok profile. Like if you're not into TikTok, I get it. A lot of people are quite skeptical about it. Set up a profile, allow yourself to be tagged in. Once you have a profile, you could just park it with your 3 pinned videos. Allow yourself to be tagged in so that you're not missing out on conversations about your brand.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's the most infuriating thing. You go to a networking event or something. You want to talk about someone, but they're not there, and you can't talk about them. They're missing out, and you're missing out effectively as well. So I'd say that's a very simple thing to do if you don't want to get involved. I don't think there's any reason why it shouldn't work for you. I think you just need to find the strategy that works for you. So going back to the carousels, a lot of people will only post carousels because they're easy. They don't want to show up. They've got a lot of photos and maybe, for example, in carousel posts, if it's an aesthetic business, say you're a photographer, it might be about the images. Yeah. But if you're a service-based business, it's just probably about the text, and it's a very nice way to serve up information. Video reply to comments, again, another strategy that people use that could be your entire strategy without doing any other form of post. Yeah. But I think if you haven't found a way that works, then maybe ask someone for some fresh eyes, because there isn't anything particularly new at the moment, but there are definitely ways to make it work for everybody. Yeah. I think it's just finding the comfortable rhythm and format that works for you.
A couple of things have popped into my head there. So one of them I wanted to ask you about was brand. Obviously, when you're first setting up your business, you're talking about what you stand for as a company, what you want people to take away. Is branding important on TikTok? Do you have to think about consistency in terms of your image and your messaging?
Not as much, I'd say, as you might do on other platforms. Certainly the branding itself, you barely ever see that. Yeah. You barely ever see anyone's actual branding. I think it's very personality led. So I think things you've done on other platforms, you could go in thinking maybe it's not going to be quite the same on TikTok. However, I do think that no matter sort of how well established you are elsewhere with your brand, the good thing about TikTok is nobody knows you yet. So it's actually quite a fertile ground to experiment and try things. Like if you've gone on the search and had a look at what other people are doing in your sector, I think you can start getting quite a good impression of what's working on TikTok and how far to go with your brand. I think, yes, definitely your brand's messaging is important, but you might find that perhaps it shifts slightly for that audience. Not necessarily, but maybe you'll see that by testing, people respond more to something that you hadn't expected, and you're happy to sort of follow that path and see where it leads you.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier about posts being longer than a minute. Have you got any other kind of tips, key do's and don'ts on what people should be thinking about when they're creating video content?
Gosh, that's a good one. I think often it boils down to confidence. It's not that people don't know what to do in videos, because we've all done a lot of videos now. Yeah. I think experimenting with variety, so keep things short. I do think film. If you're the person in your video, go and film a series of short videos, like 10 seconds of you sitting at your desk or working or answering the phone, that you can just use from your video bank, so you don't have to go and film something new every time, because they're all just obstacles, aren't they, to getting the job done. And people honestly don't care if they keep seeing the same thing over and over. They do not care. They do not notice. The music might change, the text might change, the message might change, the video is the same. Doesn't matter at all. So just make it easy for yourself. I think try and understand, experiment with all of those formats, but then see which ones you find easy to do and go with that. Do not make it complicated for yourself. Don't film a load of stuff and leave it in drafts. Post it. I think you do need probably, I'd say, be 5-10% braver than you'd normally be on other platforms, because you can always private things, but stick it out there and have a go. Because I think you'll see that people will respond really well to you, and you will start seeing that your audience is there.
Yeah. And what about tips in terms of how frequently you should be posting? Is it something where you need to be showing up several times a day, or can you post a couple of times a week?
Yeah. So I would say, I think it depends on your business goals. So if you were to do, you'll see when people are doing a launch, they'll post many times a day. So it could be 3 times a day for 2 weeks because they've got a big drop coming. They want to get as much, flood the algorithm as much as they can with their information. Yeah. Obviously, that's not sustainable at all in your business. You'd go absolutely bonkers. You can even just post a photo, by the way, so you don't have to do big things. But I would say what's sustainable to you. I'd aim to do sort of 3 to 4 times a week. I think would be good. Yeah. I think posting things in stories is good because they're just there for 24 hours. So that can just be a photo and a comment, and it keeps your business front of mind, even if it's having a dry spell in the grid. Yeah. But I think that's something achievable. You could have something in your stories almost every day, especially if you're not posting much in the grid. But I think I would, going back to sort of that SEO, sort of evergreen content and reactive content, I'd say minimum I'd do like maybe 2 sort of more evergreen business messagings per week. Yeah. And perhaps 1 reactive video. So it might be something going on in the news that's important for you, or you want to experiment with the trend and have a bit of fun. I think that would be fine. Yeah. I wouldn't get too hung up. And like I say, because your videos are searchable and discoverable over time, like once you've posted a lot, then you have a big bank of content. Yeah. So I find if I went on holiday and didn't post for 2 weeks, I'm still getting loads and loads of views, loads of likes, and loads of new followers because of content I've posted in the past. And I'm literally getting that from videos I've posted 3 years ago. It's brilliant. Yeah. It's brilliant. It's such an easy win.
Yeah, it's doing the hard work for you all the time.
Yeah.
So are there any things that you can't do on TikTok? You know, are there any things that you would say that's a no, I'd stay away from that, or things that perhaps you shouldn't be selling or even can't sell on TikTok?
Can't sell on TikTok, I'd say it's probably the same as Meta. You'd have to be careful around personal products, maybe alcohol, knives, that sort of thing. I did have an interior designer who showed a video laying the table with knives in, and that got a community violation. I think the problem with the community violations is that it's run by bots who probably about 5 years old. Yeah. So it can be a bit unfair. Another person I know had a poster that had a bum on it or something, and that was like flagged as a bum. If you're working with children, you see it happening all the time that children are in front of adults, but ideally you'd have the children behind an adult. So you'd have an adult at the front and the kids behind. Yeah. It prefers that. So probably not particularly different to other platforms. One thing that TikTok can't do, which is, unless you have a very large amount of followers, is put links in your stories like you can on Instagram. Right. So it's coming, but that's a little bit frustrating that you can't do that yet. So you always have to send people to your link in bio. Yeah. And then I'd say the messaging isn't as good as Instagram DMs. So people tend to hop over onto Instagram to chat to you there, which is great because generally you're getting new followers on Instagram as well. So you've kind of got that growth on both sides.
Yeah. So I suppose then really you're using TikTok alongside the other social media platforms that you might already be on, so that they become a kind of part of a blended marketing plan.
Yeah. I mean, in my experience personally, is people who come to me to learn TikTok who want to get started on TikTok are already established on Instagram. So they're already making videos. They've been on Instagram for a while and they just want to ramp up their brand awareness. And I do think that is the first step. We've spoken about becoming a TikTok shop seller, which is fine. You can do that from scratch when you're brand new. But another path might be just to ramp up your brand awareness on TikTok and then become a seller. Yeah. With the purpose of getting people onto your mailing list, because we all know at the end of the day, we want these people on our mailing list. That's where we really want them to be. Yeah. So I think that's what a lot of people who are coming over from Instagram want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you use analytics on TikTok to work out what is and isn't, working for you? Do you have that same kind of visibility that you would elsewhere?
Yeah. Yeah, the analytics are really good. You have to have over 100 followers, but it will tell you, with graphs, literally what point in the video people liked your video. So if you're really into the data, it's brilliant. And in fact, it's better on the desktop than it is in your phone.
Yeah.
But it's really good and very detailed.
Yeah. So, in your experience, what are the pitfalls that I would need to avoid?
Not posting yourself. Honestly, it's just about getting started. It really is that barrier of just getting going. And I think because it's a fun platform, people tend, or business owners tend, not to always take it seriously because it feels fun. But I think you need to set aside a month in your business where you go, right, we are going to have a go at TikTok and we're going to post, because often people are saying to me, it doesn't work for me, your audience isn't there. Well, how do you know if you haven't tried properly? So I think that's the key, is just to say, right, we've got a month, we've got 3 months, we're going to post 3 times a week. This is what we're going to do. Because then you can go back into those fantastic analytics and see what's working. And you might go, right, well, this kind of post is working really well for us. Let's do more of that. And in fact, if you're a TikTok shop seller, it will go into it will give you hashtags, it will give you keywords, it will give you so much information about the kind of videos you could make that there's no reason why it shouldn't be working if you're basing yourself on those analytics.
So in your personal view, what advantages do you think TikTok offers over perhaps other social media that people might be using for their business?
I think the huge driver for people who are new to TikTok is the SEO. I think that's just enormous, and I think that's misunderstood. I think people don't know that about TikTok. I say the discoverability, the fact that when you get new followers, they will over time be shown all of your information. So imagine if you got a new follower on Instagram today, they're following you because of your latest post. They will see your latest post. Then Instagram would never show them everything you've ever posted over time. You'd have to do that yourself, go on their account and scroll through everything. And I think that is huge for brand awareness and growth. I think it's a more relaxed platform compared to, again, Instagram, which is always the comparison, really. Instagram is quite curated, perhaps increasingly less so, but there is there's an echo chamber on Instagram where you tend to know people who are liking your posts and people who are following you. When you go through your followers, like, you do actually know everyone. It's not like that at all on TikTok. It's always going to new people. People don't need to be following you to see what you do. They need to be interested in what you're doing. So the algorithm will figure it out. So you could effectively have no followers and be following no one. But if you're scrolling on TikTok, the algorithm's going to be sending you all the information you like. So if you've been looking at a load of skiing videos or puppy videos, it's going to send you more of those, and that works the same for business. What I would say is I'd strongly recommend opening a second account where you don't follow anyone and you don't engage, just because the more time you spend on algorithm in your business account, it is going to tailor it to your interests. So anything you've spent a bit longer looking at, anything that you've watched twice, it's going to send you more of that. Or anything you've searched for, it's going to go, oh, they really love this stuff, let's send more of this. So your algorithm sort of refines over time into something that's very you, and you'll see something very different to other people. If you have an account that you don't engage and you just scroll, TikTok's going to send you everything that's done well over time, because it doesn't really quite know who you are. And then you get a really nice broad view of what's going on in the wider world
beyond your interests.
Yeah.
Fab. That's a great tip. Talking of tips, what would be your top 3 tips for anyone who's thinking of dipping their toe and starting with TikTok?
Well, the first one, to go back to post today. Oh, you could start by posting a story if you feel a little bit afraid of something else. I would say if you're already on Instagram, I don't know if you're aware that Instagram has this edits app. So anything you create for Instagram, you can actually download a clean copy onto your phone. Instead of making your life difficult, you could just upload what you have there onto TikTok and experiment. Just get going and see what kind of reactions you have. Definitely, I would make time for recording yourself talking to camera. I think that's where you're going to see the most growth, but it might take you a little bit of bravery to rev up to it. And try out some wacky ideas. Research what's going on in your community and just see where you can perhaps step away just 5% from the rigidity of what you're already doing, and ditch all the sort of nice texty kind of graphics that you might be putting on LinkedIn and other things that don't work.
That's fantastic. Before we let you go today, can you tell our listeners where they can connect with you online?
Yes, so come and find me on Instagram at barbruiser_social, and it's the same on TikTok, barbruiser_social. If you type in on TikTok Penny Walker, you'll find me, and it's the same on YouTube.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much for your time today. It's really interesting to talk to you. Cheers.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much for having me.
Frankly, if Penny hasn't convinced you that you need to get started with TikTok, no one will. Penny's explained how easily you can get started with TikTok. You don't need expensive kit, you don't need a big budget, and you can even reuse video content from Instagram to kick things off. And as Penny's explained, you could be set up and running in less time than it took you to listen today. So the question remains, what are you waiting for? We'll include further advice and resources related to this episode, as well as links to Penny in the summary notes, and you'll find these at www.startyourownbusinesspodcast.co.uk. You can also learn more about the sponsor of this episode, Sage, and how Copilot can help you and your small business. If you've enjoyed the show today, please hit follow so that you'll be notified about new episodes as soon as they drop. All that remains is to thank Penny once again for taking the time to talk to us today. Until next time, all the best.